You're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the OGRL Coffee Cup here from Montreal. It's round 17 of our championship and the penultimate one before the 2-week break for Christmas. It's myself, Ewan, Judge Parfitt with you at the circuit, Gilles Villeneuve for round 17 as our two-legged Canadian part of this championship gets underway and indeed concludes this week. You're not a huge fan of this circuit, James, for whatever reason. I do quite like it, actually. GT3s don't often go around here, though, so I do wonder a little bit just how much the experience these drivers will have going into this race.
And that is my point. That is my point. It's not generally a GT3 circuit. I don't know. I just don't find this circuit fun to drive. I really don't. And it's never really delivered for me, and I just don't find it exciting. I'm open wheelers maybe, GT3s not so much.
I disagree, but there we go.
It's really not the first time, is it?
We'll get past it, I think. There's just about 4 minutes to go in practice. In case you've not seen this series before, we'll be back with qualifying just after that, then warm-up, then an hour race for round 17. And in case you're wondering, crikey, that's quite a lot of rounds. We are split into three sort of seasons of 6, if you like. You're allowed to take one drop week within each. So it helps to keep the scores quite close. Let's have a look at the championship scores going on right now, because, as I say, it is relatively close. In Pro, Bradley Lovings was able to extend his championship margin over Joshua Herring 1 week ago by 6 points, so he's now leading by 11. There's a big gap back to Cole Modric, who's over 100 points back. Brian Merriam is in fourth place, I should say. Alan Purser 5th, just 1 point ahead of Jeremy Cheney, with David Van Roy in 7th, then of Michael Dion, Sean Riley and Damien Horverton rounding out the top 10 in Pro. In Pro-Am, Bradley Tidwell has really raced away in the last few weeks. He gained ground on everybody behind him last time, including Richard Modric and Quentin Price, who's now 90 points behind. Barry Acker is 97 behind, with Brian Dukowski, the first driver, 100 points or more back. Perno Hanno is in 6th place, 7 points ahead of Jonathan Williams. Dan Sporak is in 8th place, and Michael Champlin and Adam Henson rounding out, Hansen, I should say, rounding out the top 10. In the AMS, JT Sawyer is leading, although his lead took a bit of a hit last week, with Joey Baines gaining on him. He is now only 5 points back. Heath Ollinger is a bit further back, with Mike Elliott 4th. Gary Spencer's dropping down now because he's missed the last 2 weeks in a row. Cody Bont is in 6th place, ahead of Clyde Comfer, Jeff Sepulveda, Matthew Brennan and Cameron Ridgely rounding out the top 10. So once again, same story really. It is all very close, but after 17 rounds, or 16 rounds I should say, Bradley Tidwell's starting to get a bit of a gap over the rest of the field, and that's probably the most noticeable one that is getting really larger. If you even account for the drop week that is going to come in this season, he will still be 47 points ahead of Richard Modric. That's a real big gap for him to now have achieved, although it will be a little bit closer with Quentin Price. Still, though, 43 points. So he's got a nice margin now, has Bradley Tidwell, and he effectively just needs to not do anything wrong for the rest of the season, come to all the races, do okay in them, and he's looking good for the championship now.
Yeah, he's just got to be consistent. Keep it on track, don't do anything crazy, race who you need to, don't race who you don't need to, and just generally go about doing your business, getting points on the board. Cameron Fredericks is in YouTube chat, James Hillerick, and then we've got Mikey who's there going, hello, all I'm on TV.
Is that Mikey Rogers, is it?
It is, yeah. From 4X Racing, who has literally said he's on TV. So there we go. Hi, Mum, I'm on TV.
He's second place on TV as well at the moment. He's going all right, although he was quickest earlier on. He's now driving in the last minute of practice. Yeah, James Hillerick saying that this one is going to be so fun. We were saying he was too pessimistic last week, wondering now whether he's being too optimistic or whether he's just pretending to be, because we were saying he was too pessimistic last time. We'll see, but he won the race last week, as far as I remember. He certainly did. Got a great finish overall as well. I think it was nearly a top 10, if it wasn't an actual top 10. Had a great race after being pessimistic. So he's clearly not superstitious because he's not carrying on with this same attitude. He's changing his attitude because he won last week.
Well, that's the thing, and he's sitting second in class at the moment behind Joey Means. So, you know, fair play. Give it a go. Have a good one. Tell you one man that's not having a good one at this moment in time is this man, Damien Horvaten. Can't seem to get the time out of that Porsche. Sitting down in 15th at the moment.
I'm not sure it's because of the Porsche, though. You know, we've got Faluna leading the way in one of the Porsches at the moment, but Horvaten does seem to be just struggling a little bit. Came so close, of course, last week to chasing down eventual race winner Alfie Nichols, winning his third race in a row, by the way. But Horvaten couldn't quite get there in time. I mean, we could be surprised by a bit of weather as well, in case you weren't with us last week. It had a dry start to the race, a bit like this, and then it got pretty wet very quickly, actually. Everyone making the one stop to move on to the wet tyres, and Horvaten really did drive well in those wet weather conditions. I think the Porsche is the car to have in those types of conditions. However, it's looking like a bit of a clearer day this time round. And we haven't had rain too often this season. I think, you know, 3 or 4 times maybe.
Yeah, it's not been a rain-soaked season, which is always good. I don't generally currently enjoy rain-soaked seasons, and it really is that great equaliser, but it does cause a little bit of drama throughout the racing. We've just been informed, inside information in the 4X racing camp, Alfie has had about 20 seconds of practice all week for Gilles Villeneuve. So, good luck, Alf.
He said he's just made it back in time, so I don't know what he's been doing.
I don't know, but he's going to get even less practice, isn't he? That quality's going to be his practice.
It is, effectively, yeah. But I think he'll be okay, to be honest, based on his speed so far this season and so on. It's hard to see why you would struggle, really. We will wait and see on that front, of course. But yeah, I personally think he'll be okay. James Henrik said he was joking, so he's not optimistic. He's just pretending to be.
Well, I'd have carried on after last week's win with the pessimism, to be honest with you. I'd have been like, oh my God, this is going to be rough. But I think, you know, I would have done that, to be honest, kept the superstitions going. You know what I mean? I do have to shout out one man, okay? Mr. Alan Purser. He has finally changed away from the Lexus livery, and we have got a gingerbread man liveried livery. See, it's not even a Lexus. Gingerbread liveried BMW. So there you go. Fair play.
The front end, though, it's still the grill or the paint and the way it is. It still looks like the grill is shaped like it still looks like a Lexus from the front.
And it's got Lexus across the window banner. It's not easy.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not really abandoned it yet, but he's just got away from the real world livery. I suppose I think this might be a festive livery that he might well get rid of in January.
Maybe.
It's a bit festive to me.
Yeah, it's candy canes, and then you've got the gingerbread man main paint, haven't you? But the candy cane rear wing. It's a fair play to Alan Purser for coming away from his famous Lexus livery that we see and love every single week, with him praying that Lexuses would be in iRacing.
I was going to say, yeah, I would much prefer to see him in that livery, to be honest, than a festive one, but never mind.
That's because you're Grinch. We'd see you in a Grinch livery. That's what we would see.
No, I hate all that as well, because that's Christmas related, so that's just annoying as well.
Oh my
David
God.
Horvaten says that he's done 20 laps in the dry, so he's going to be P20. I think he's probably going to finish better than that, personally, but there you go. He's being pessimistic this week. 20 laps in the dry suggests he's done a lot of practice in the wet, as if he's expecting or hoping it to be wet.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see how these guys get on. I think it's going to be interesting whether or not they're going to all of a sudden chuck rain in it. It does look fairly dry at this moment in time, though. I do have to be completely honest. You know, especially when the temperature is 19 degrees, 36 degrees track temperature. Does look fairly dry, and it might stay there as well. Herring goes on to pole, 36.299. Williams and Everson in behind him.
First time's really coming through, though. Now we've not got very many so far. Herring, though, is going to be pretty difficult to beat. 36.2 is pretty good to start with. Evan Roy gets pretty close. Alan Purser as well, within a second of the pole position. Jonathan Williams still on pole in Pro-Am. JC Sawyer's just gone up to the pole at the moment in Am, but these times really aren't trickling through very quickly at all here in the opening part of the session. Still only 10 now on the board, and of course there's over 30 in the field here again today. So, as always, we get very big fields in this series. So, yeah, not entirely sure quite why everybody, maybe people have scraped the wall and so on. That's quite a common way to get your lap invalidated around here.
That's the most easiest way, and it doesn't take much to do it either. You literally scrape the wall, 0x, lap over. And that's it. There's nothing else to it. To be blatantly honest with you, Brian Faluna has got out on the race circuit at the moment. He has got some times on the board. Purple and a green. So we'll see how he gets on for this final sector as he's coming up over the line.
Fastest in practice. You'd expect this to go to the top, probably. Fastest in the final sector as well, and it does go to the top for Brian Faluna. That was expected. First 35 of the day, so he's half a second quicker than Josh Herring, who couldn't even go quicker than his own lap time there that time round. Jonathan Williams moved up to third overall as the leading Pro-Am as well. So I think Brian Faluna is going to be very, very difficult to beat here in this session. I think Mickey Rogers is going to be one of those, Mikey Rogers, sorry, is going to be one of those trying to beat him. Oh, that was an awkward bump over the curves there for somebody. And they're going to stop
Alfie
the
Nichols.
champions there.
That was Alfie Nichols. He's got a Christmas wrapping paper livery on the car at the moment. Looks like the boys at 4X have changed it. Looks like, no, that's not good, Alf.
He really hasn't had any practice, has he?
No, can't even get out of the grid, out the pit. Come on, Alf, try again. You can do it.
Please don't spin again.
Because that would be funny.
Slowed down a bit more this time. Well done.
Yeah, that would be funny. Not on that.
Yeah, it's not going to be pole this time around. I wouldn't have thought for Alfie Nichols. I mean, Brian Faluna's time, first of all, is going to be difficult to beat. Richard Wedgstead's second place at the moment. I'm still waiting for Mikey Rogers to really get going here. He's on his final lap time now, though. He's just about over halfway through. Just under halfway through, I should say, for Rogers. Needs to get his act together a bit. He was second in practice. I think he's got a 35 in him. He's just got to find it now on this last lap.
Well, I can tell you one man who doesn't think he's got a 35 in it is Damien Horvath. Please tell Faluna to turn off the grip axe. Hey, if there is, I didn't even know there is. Is there hacks in iRacing?
Probably.
Is there really?
I mean, I don't know. It must be possible.
It's got to be, and normally any online game is possible to.
Is there anything not hackable?
No, but why would you put? Well, I suppose grip X might help, but
I don't think he's being serious, by the way.
No,
But,
I just didn't. I've always seen him in other simulated games, should we say, that have been made aware of, and I've seen certain things that look exceptionally dodgy. And of course, you see him in like first-person shooters all the time, but I've never seen him. I don't think I've ever seen him in iRacing.
It must be possible, but we probably shouldn't be speculating about that, to be honest.
No, I don't know. No, we're not encouraging. Go on Google. Send me the link. Just, you know what I mean? Let me know on that one. But listen, at the end of the day, he's just quick. You know, Damien, you're just slow. Get on with it. You've only done 20 laps of practice. Your own fault. Crack on. Sunshine there as well. David Van Roy looking very gorgeous in his new liveried Mustang. Do love that livery.
It's quite nice, actually. Better than Christmas liveries.
Hey, mate, you should see my livery for my Gen 3 supercar. Ooh.
Oh, no.
Oh, darling.
Oh, dear.
I'll save one of the pictures and send it over to you. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah, but this, I think, although I don't like this racetrack, I think the racing itself could be very interesting.
Yes, yeah, I think so. Hayden Young has just got over the line for the first time, by the way. He's gone to 6th place now. Brian Merriam is the only one in the top 10, currently towards the end of a lap that's actually going to count. David Van Roy enters the pit lane because that's lap 4 for him, and it wasn't going to count even if he was going at full speed, which he's certainly not. Merriam into the final couple of corners at the moment, and you'll probably see him come through on our camera shot here on the right-hand side over the line. And here he goes in the Porsche. Is he going to be any quicker? Maybe not. Over the line. Oh, no, he does. Well done. 5th place for Ryan Merriam. And so that will be that for him. So still got Hayden Young out there on the circuit at the moment. Adam Hansen hasn't set a time yet. Neither has Debian Horvath at the moment. And Alfie Nichols goes over the line for the first time. Bradley Lovings hasn't done one just yet either. Nichols there setting his second lap, so he's got one more to go.
Yeah, he's got one more to go on that one, but it depends on how fast he gets. We've got Horverton has copied Lovings and come out with about 2 minutes to go. So he's going to see how he gets on. Nichols is halfway round his last lap here, going through the left-hander at turn 6 and 7 before he goes running down into 8th and 9th. So there we go. Faluna was in YouTube chat. It was the Cameron French vanilla coffee that's giving him his burst of rip energy.
What is that? What?
I have no idea. I'm just going with it. I don't know.
We should have a coffee sponsor for this series. This is prime coffee sponsorship, isn't it? This series. Early in the morning, if you're in the US, which most of the drivers are. Indeed, it's about 25 past 6 in the morning in California, or the West Coast, I should say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did get reached out once by a coffee sponsor.
Right.
Yeah, but it was more of a we promote them, they don't do a lot back. So yeah, I told them inadvertently for us to decline. We'll be declining that offer. We say.
It doesn't look like. Oh no, he might well actually move forward here. Happy Nichols, yes he does. 9th place with that lap time there, so he's done okay to get to the top 10 now. I think with very limited practice, he might actually have another lap. Not sure whether the time screen is correct in telling me he's got another lap there or not, but anyway, it's showing that he might well do. So he might be able to move up further. Bradley Lovings will hope to move up further as well from 11th place. Devin Horton certainly will, although he's just gone back to the pit lane in 18th.
Yeah, not good. Not good for Horvath, and he did say top 20. It was possible on that one. Cameron's is great coffee, and I'd like to point out, if you go to cameronscoffee.com, you can find all your coffee needs. There's loads of them, by the looks of it. Whether or not they deliver to the UK, completely different story.
Quite difficult to wake up in the morning and order it from another country, to be fair, and expect it to come when you still need it in the morning.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get. I think it's all American. I don't think it's going to get to the UK.
That's going to get cold quite quickly.
Yes.
Bradley Lovings through the final corners in the Porsche. Not sure he was pushing massively hard through there, but he will have one more after this if he wants it over the line. That is probably quite close to his previous lap time, and I'm not sure it's an improvement. No, it's less than a tenth slower. So one more chance here from Lovings to move himself up from 11th. Alfie Nichols is using his final chance now from 9th place, getting close to the wall. He's on the pace pretty well, to be honest, considering he hasn't had any practice, but it looks like he's running slow up towards the line, and he won't improve.
He will.
Will he? Yes, he does. He does. He didn't look like he was going very quickly at all there, but it's just the camera angle, and I'm used to seeing Paul broadcast probably. So 6th place for Alfie Nichols. That's very respectable, considering everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering he's had no problem, no practice. I just read Nick Smith in YouTube chat. Unfortunately, he's ill for Christmas. He's going to be chilling out in his bed. Lovins has gone and made a boo-boo. He ain't going no further than 11th.
No, so it looks like that'll be it for the last 2 minutes, although Adam Hansen's still out there on the circuit. So it's Demi and Horverton, so maybe not. We maybe have another couple of laps just yet. That's a livery. Look at that. Goodness me.
That is about as American as possibly American it could be.
It is, yeah. That's it's on a Mustang as well. That's, wow. That's quite impressive to us. I quite like that. He's 15th at the moment in Pro-Am. He's 4th. Needs a few more positions to overtake Bradley Tidwell, but Richard Wedstead is in 2nd place. What a drive from him in qualifying here. 36.0. Looks like he's going to be on the front row as a Pro-Am. You don't see that very often.
No, definitely not. I think Richard might be a little bit promoted to next season, I think, personally, on that one. I would have him as a pro. I wouldn't have him as a Pro-Am. Where is he in the champ? Can't be in the championship as a Pro-Am, surely.
He is. He's 13th in the points.
He is. Wow.
He's only joined us, though, since round 14, I think, which might be why. So he might be bumped up. But, I would say rounds 14 and 15, he certainly had performances that you'd liken to a Pro-Am. And last week as well, he did win the race in Pro-Am, but, he wasn't in the top 5. So, I think he is well placed in a Pro-Am. He's just had a very good qualifying, I think.
Yeah, absolutely barnstorming qualifying. Mr. Horvath has not had a good qualifying. First yellow, first green. What's he going to do when he comes over the line? Is he going to move up at all? Yes,
Maybe a bit, yeah.
Just up to 15th. That's it. Final one. Qualifying all done on all that one. So we've got warm-up next, of course, which we both really did remember this week, before we go on to the grid.
Yep. So a little bit of time to get ready for the race. And everyone will put the full fuel load in again and get used to driving around with other people again, because this, of course, is a solo qualifying session, as we can see. So the time ticks by, and the qualifying session is complete. It's Brian Villeneuve who takes the pole position in the round at Montreal. I find him in the standings at the moment, Brian Villeneuve. He is 19th place in the standings. Joined us for the first time for round 14, I think. So, yeah, pretty sure he did. So he's pretty new to the series as well. But wasn't here last week. Had a poor performance at round 15 as well at the Hockenheim Ring, where he struggled a little bit. Must have had an incident to have dropped that far back. But he was in the top 5 the week before that at Fuji. So it is entirely possible he can have another good performance here. We'll see where he gets to from pole. He's got off to the best possible start.
Yeah, pole's always a good place to be, especially this one. The interesting one will be going down into turn 1, the left-hander. If somebody misses the braking point behind him, well, he's going to be their brake for Mr. Villeneuve. But I think if he can avoid that situation, hold him as long as possible, or make the jump coming through the final chicane. That's really the only two options. If you don't make it coming through the final chicane, hold them as long as possible up to the line, because you want to cut that shortest run out down to the line as much as possible.
If I was him, to be fair, and thinking about that in towards turn 1, because it is a realistic concern, I would actually go quite early. I think in my experience of watching these kind of races, you are more likely to stretch out the field in a way that's beneficial to the leader if you go early rather than going late. If you leave it right the way towards the line, first of all, they can sort of anticipate the jump because there's less amount of time that you can actually go, so it's less of a surprise when you do it really late. And second of all, it means that everybody accelerates out the final corner right up to the back of the car in front of them, and they sort of all crowd on top of one another in towards turn 1. I think if he's worried about that, he should go pretty much straight away, especially because of this final chicane. It's actually quite difficult to go side by side through the final chicane here, even on the formation lap. So actually, it could be quite single file, and that might well help the leader as well.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. I think I would bunch them up, and then as soon as I hit that final chicane, I would pop, because they're going to struggle to get through there, and I would just literally floor it and go for it now. That would be it. That would be my philosophy going into this.
I think that's the best idea, to be honest. We'll see how he's thinking about this, though, because as I say, it's 6:30 in the morning where he is at the moment. Goodness knows when he got up to practice for this. I think the session opens California time at about 4 in the morning or something. So maybe 4:30. So I can't imagine he was awake much longer after that. But qualifying would have started just past 6. And so we would have had to, maybe even 5:30 the latest, I would say. The early morning for a Sunday morning, but shows the dedication to sim racing of a lot of these drivers, because a lot of these drivers are racing pretty early on in the morning.
Yeah, that seems a little bit. Even I'm not that enthusiastic. Even like
Tuesday.
Yeah, I do generally if I'm going to do the Aussie League, but the problem is when me and you do Autobahn and we don't get a bed till God knows when. And they've gone back now as well, so the session actually opened at 7 o'clock in the morning. There was no way I was going to do Autobahn, go to bed at 4:04, and then get up for 7 to do racing. I'm not that enthusiastic, or committed, I should say. So, I did miss a few rounds due to my sleep pattern being that I didn't want to get out of bed.
I can't blame you particularly, although we are starting a new league just on the new side of the new year at quite early in the morning, so we'll have to figure that out as well.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
So, but that's fine. We've done it before. Well, I've done it before, so
I do it every Thursday, didn't I? I did it every Thursday.
Well, exactly. There you go. Yeah.
We'll be alright. We'll manage it. We'll manage it. It'll be fine.
I only did it once every day for a week, but about 18 months ago. So it's a bit weird. But you know, I'm not even doing it every day in a week, so I'll be absolutely fine.
Okay.
Just go to bed afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Goes back to sleep in a couple of hours. Yeah.
As strange as that is at 11:30 in the morning.
Trust me, for people like us who do this weird, bizarre job that ends up going silly o'clock in the morning some days and getting up super early to do things, our cat naps and our afternoon power naps are essential to our well-being. That's my excuse.
They certainly are. We'll stop complaining about our jobs now.
I'm not complaining about my job. I love my job. It's just the early mornings and the late evenings kind of stump it out, and you end up getting a nickname of you never sleep, do you? James doesn't sleep. I'm like, well, I do, but just at silly times when you're doing things that you should be doing.
Yeah. I'm sleeping when you're awake.
Yes.
How about that? I'm never awake when you're sleeping, so think about that. Anyway, without sounding too creepy. Chicken flag of warm-up, and we'll stop babbling on now. We do go on some tangents, don't we? Let's have a look at the grid for the race. Brian Faluna, with that great lap in qualifying, takes one of the biggest margins, actually, for pole here, ahead of Richard Wedstead. 0.3 of a second. David Van Roy and Josh Herring are on row 2, ahead of Ryan Merriam and Alfie Nichols. Jonathan Williams and Hayden Young are on row 4 ahead of Mikey Rogers and Marshall Crocker Jr. Bradley Lovings is down in 11th, 7 places behind his main championship rival, with Bradley Tidwell, Pro-Am championship leader, in 12th. Alan Purser and Jeremy Cheney are sharing row 7 ahead of Damien Hoverton and Adam Hansen. It's Barry Acker and Philip de la Cruz next ahead of Mitchell Bowen, with Curtis Matthews on pole in the AMS. 20th place for him ahead of Cody Bont. Then it's Mark Long. Rick Modric and Jason Iverson are on row 12 ahead of Jim Sawyer and Joey Mains. They are the 2 championship contenders in AM, as we know. James Hinnerich, well, we'll see how optimistic he is after lap 1 here. He's right in the midfield with Jeff Sepulveda. Heath Bollinger and Quentin Price ran out the top 30 with Michael Chaplin and John Gardner. John Gardner, I should say, Chaplin's broken out graphics with his team name. Anyway, Herno Hanno is in 33rd at Brett Basil with Cameron Risley and Matthew Brennan on row 18. And then Mike Elliott, who brings up the rear. 37 on the grid. I think that's just about a nice number for this, although it is going to feel pretty busy around this tight circuit.
It is going to be very, very busy indeed. So hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen, and sit back and think just how busy this is going to be, because I think this is going to be one of these circuits where it can go horribly wrong at different times. And I think we might see stuff go wrong.
Yeah, certainly. Is that grid broken?
No, no. The button was decided that it wasn't going to work when I clicked it about 4 times. But I've had problems with it for the software. Well, as you saw, as well.
So I was just hoping that we weren't going to have to watch the race sort of straining through.
No, it's fine. I got rid of it at the end.
It's fine, we've got it. Brian Faluna then is going to be in control, and I wonder whether he is going to take our advice about flooring it at this final corner, or whether he's going to wait a little bit here in Rexy, the Porsche at the front of the field. Richard Wedstead, the Pro-Am pole sitter, alongside him. Into the final chicane they go. They are going to just about remain side by side. Now, just Faluna go when it's all packed up? No, he's going to wait for everybody to get, and look at the problems this could cause into the first corner. And look at them in the background as well. They're going to be expecting them to go pretty quickly here, and so it could be a bit of a problem. It's already 3 wide. Hayden Young in the middle there, in towards turn of 1. As Ryan Merriam late on the brakes down the inside, he gets into second place. Oh, Young makes a bit of contact there with Jonathan Williams as he goes through the opening couple of corners, but he gets out looking okay. Hayden through to 6th place, and Lovings is up to 7th. What a start from him on the inside of Jonathan Williams, and here comes Rogers as well. Oh, that's really aggressive. Rogers down the inside in towards turn 3. Very nearly got a big crash, but he got it, and he's into 7th place.
Yeah, there's been some interesting action all the way through, to be fair. Alfie has moved himself up, Mr. Nichols up 1 place. You can see in the background Williams and Tidwell side by side in the Pro-Am situation. We've had Adam Headson in behind that. There's been Jeremy Cheney is off the side of the circuit and sliding rapidly down the order. There he is. No!
had it under control in the end, but it didn't look like it. View at the back, Damien Horvatin, Nevin Van Rooyen and Alan Purser all deciding to start from the pit lane by the looks of things. So, not sure what's gone on there.
Why would they do that?
Pit lane? Do they have an incident?
I don't know, but they're not on the race circuit.
They must have started from pit lane then, the three of them. That's very odd. That's how so many drivers have made up so many places. Like Sir Bradley Lovings up 3, Adam Hansen up 5, Philip de la Cruz up 6 on this opening lap. A few of those positions will have come, of course, from those who started from the pit lane. But Hoverton's joined at the back of the field. Just in behind him is Cheney, who's rejoined, and then Ben Roy and Purser are somewhere in here as well. There is Ben Roy. Made up a few places after the pit lane. There's Purser just behind him. He's not actually 36, Ben Roy. He's just not being scored properly yet because he started from pit lane. But he will be scored properly eventually when the timing sorts itself out. Brian Faluna has held on to the lead though, ahead of Ryan Merriam, then Richard Weston, who has got Josh Herring behind him. Although Herring's the cork in the bottle here, really. Alfie Nichols right behind him.
Yeah, I think he needs to get on with it. He really needs Hayden to put him under pressure. Alfie's going to try and go around the outside. Oh no, they're going to come off the corner exit 3 wide at this moment in time. On the run down into the right-hander. They're still going to be 3 wide. Not Nichols has managed to get out in front. But I can tell you one thing, that was very, very close. And Hayden Young takes both of them.
So Nichols gets past one and overtaken by the other. Herring there didn't want any part of that, it looked like, and so he just backed off and let the two of them go through because he knows there's a championship to play for here, and his championship rival is still behind him at the moment. Bradley Lovings in 8th place. Between them, Mikey Rogers in the McLaren is right there as well, but Herring's been tapped round by Rogers slightly, and he loses another place on this lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like it's gone a little bit wrong. Lovins there trying to get onto the back of Herring. Herring's down 3 places. Rogers is up 3. Nichols up 1. Hayden Young is up 4. Westhead down 1. And Ryan Merriam is sitting in 2nd place there at the moment as well. Hang on a sec. What's going on? When the leader was entering the first corner, there were still all 5 red lights showing. I didn't notice that.
That's pretty normal. If you're talking about the red lights showing on our graphic, that's pretty normal. To be honest, the leader is in control of the field effectively. They effectively instigate the green flag being waved, so yeah, they do accelerate when the red lights are still on. It's not like a standing start race where that would be a false start, obviously. It's a bit different to that. Rogers just grazed the wall there, it looked like, in the background out of turn 4. That wasn't ideal, but he doesn't seem to have too much damage from it at all, as Herring and Lovings there get pretty close into turn 5 and 6. In the end, Herring holds on to the position, but they're on 6th, 7th and 8th place now, and Herring's not going to be pleased with the start he's made. Qualified a lot better than Lovings, but they're together after less than 5 minutes. Yeah,
it didn't take long to get them together, did it? Let's be real about it. The way Rogers' start was, the way Herring and Lovings himself was up 3, Herring's down 3. I think that's the thing. We've got Hayden Young and Alfie Nichols battling it out as they're going in through the hairpin and on their way up through 11, 12 and 13. Could be interested with the draft. I'll be interested to see how that plays out. We've got Barry Acker going up the inside of Marshall Crocker Jr. at the moment in time. Curtis Matthews is leading the AMs at this moment in time, ahead of Cody Bonte, with JT down in 18th and Jeff Sepulveda down in 19th.
Yeah, look at Sawyer though, 18th place compared to Mines, who's down in 27. That's a big gain for Sawyer if he can hold on to that throughout. But look at the amount of drivers just ahead of Joey Mines here, who he might be able to overtake. And also look at who's coming through the field. Ben Roy, Modric, Purser, Hoverton, all of these drivers are ahead at the moment of Mains, but you'd expect maybe to be able to overtake the likes of Sawyer later, so that might get a bit closer later on. But the midfield is where the action really is at the moment, to be honest. The leaders have gotten the single file. Look at this, side by side as Champlin and Ben Roy go side by side. That's David Ben Roy making up another place now to 23rd.
No, he's absolutely flying. Absolutely flying. He's obviously down places on where he started, but he's up from where he actually did officially start. If that makes any form of sense. But I knew what he meant. JT's just lost a position to Jeff Sepulveda, and Josh Herring has still got Lovins tucked in right behind him.
Steve Cleaver, I thought if the race stewards weren't happy with the lineup, then the red stayed on and effectively had a ported start. Not really, no. Yeah, you effectively, you just it's up to the drivers, to be honest, to keep a nice form. And if they don't, they might get a penalty afterwards, I suppose. But we very rarely see that kind of thing. Everybody understands just to stay in line and not to duck around. You very rarely see people gaining an advantage because it's in full view on a live stream. You're not going to get away with it. So everybody generally behaves themselves on the way towards turn 1. So yeah, it is an absolutely fine start. There's been something going on down there at the hairpin, and Alan Purser is involved along with a lot of others here. Let's try and unpick what on earth's going on down here. Mitchell Bowen was defending on the inside from one of the McLarens.
Whoa!
Oh no! Oh my word!
Jesus.
That's a humongous accident for Alan Purser and a couple of others as well, who were coming in at terminal velocity there almost, and it's contact with David Van Rooij and one of the Porsches. So, oh no! Purser's hit Van Rooij, who's hit the Porsche, and Purser's gone into a couple of cars there as well. That is an absolute catastrophe down there, I'm afraid, and a real big moment in this race. 4 cars look like they're taken out in that.
Oh, he steered and then got loose, and then that's it. Ouch! Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. That's JT Sawyer, James Hillerick, Heath Hollinger, Mitchell Bowen. Nothing they could do. He's not even going to know that this is coming. He's not even going to know. Watch this. He just sits there, and then BAM! Over it goes. He didn't even know it was on its way. Wow.
That is a real shame.
Massive.
That is a real shame. But, it sort of makes me wonder, with that kind of incident, how that doesn't happen more often because of the way that corner set up into the hairpin, to be honest. That's the first time I think I've ever seen that in a race I've been covering. So that is a bit of a miracle. We get away with it more often, but a real shame for all of those drivers. David Van Rooij, Jim Sawyer, Mitchell Bowen and Mark Long have all been into the pit lane, either related to that or not. Quentin Price has also been into pit lane, by the way, for a few seconds, so that's not great for him. Bowen and Sawyer back out on the circuit again, but this could be really damaging for Sawyer. Joey Mains is now up to 27th and gaining big points on him here. As things stand, Mains would be the new championship leader.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the thing is at the moment is Mains is now sitting in a kind of position where he can kind of sit back and just make sure he can get it over the line. So we'll have to see how it goes. Steve, I'm James, that's Ewan, and we'll be bringing you the action throughout this afternoon. And we've got another one together later on for Tanzo, so come and join us for that one. Hayden Young, Alfie Nichols are all still together in 4th and 5th place at this moment in time. Hayden not letting him through, playing hardball with Alfie.
If they could work together maybe to catch Richard Wedstad here, or whether that's what they are doing at the moment. 37.1 from him last time, only 1/10 quicker than Wedstad there for Hayden Young, although that was a bit wide from Wedstad. And you'd imagine if they do get there, then Wedstad's not going to fight him too much. A bigger gap than the more difficult gap to cross, I think, is going to be the one between for Luna and Merriam. I'll be hoping that they start to fight, I think, so that they can catch up here, but we'll see about that. There they are. 3/4 of a second apart. Luna's just put a bit more distance into him after being under a bit of pressure earlier.
Yeah, he got it down to about 4/10 and then managed to open it back up again, which is always good for Luna. Nichols just cannot bury that last chicane to be able to get a decent run on Hayden Young down into turn 1. He gets close throughout the lap, and then he just can't make it through the hairpin close enough to him, so he's going to struggle to get past, but he needs to be almost tucked up right up as close as he possibly can get. And that's the thing, he needs to be right up there. His nose needs to be literally up the back end of Young coming through that hairpin, because at the moment he's just not quite getting close enough.
Not really at the moment, in towards the left-hander. Because of the incident so far, there's already a bit of traffic, I think, up ahead here, is it? Or is that just those up at lead lap? Oh, Nichols there might have grazed the wall out of turn 6. That was very, very close indeed for Nichols, but that's the way you have to race this circuit, to be honest. Oh, Wedstad's gone! The leader in Pro-Am has spun out down there at turn 7, and it's not, turn 8 I should say. It's a common error to make. It looks like he might have held on to the race lead actually in his class. It's an unforced error. There's just a bit of traffic up ahead of him, but it's not the traffic that's affected. He's lost it on the way
Did he
in.
hit
The rear end got loose on the way in there for Richard Wested. He's found himself down the marshal's post down there.
And he loses his rear wing.
Oh no.
Trying to 3-point turn it, loses his rear wing in the process. So Wedstead might have to come in now, because that is never good for him. But as you can see, Nichols didn't get the run again. Now, he's got him a little bit closer this time, but he really needs to kind of get alongside. The problem is Young can just put his car out there. We've seen it before in F1 with Button and Hamilton, I believe it was, who was side by side in the same team going down into turn one. And that can happen, and they've just got to make sure that they can try and work together. Or if Nichols is going to go, he's got to try and go sooner than later.
Yeah, into turn 3 and 4 they go, and well, this is now for a podium place, but can they catch up to those two ahead? I think that's going to be very difficult. They might well just focus on that last spot on the podium. Bradley Tidwell's now leading the race, by the way, in Pro-Am. That's I suppose this race is a perfect example of why he is leading that championship. He's not done anything particularly flashy so far. He's barely been on our cameras once because stuff has already been happening around him. But that's exactly how he runs these races, and that's exactly how he wins races as well in Pro-Am. In towards the hairpin for Nichols. He had a look at the inside, didn't go for it there. Although he might get a chance. Young goes wide, and he's going to get the exit off the corner as a result, but that's the first warning really for Alfie Nichols, just trying to get through. Yeah,
he's trying to make his nose felt, but he just cannot get up there, can he, at this moment in time? He just needs to try and get it alongside Young, and at the moment he's just not able to get it in far enough. And for Nichols, he's got to decide what he's got to do. He's got to try and stay with him again, get the run over the curb. Now see if you can get him down into turn one. He's a little bit closer than he was before. Battle for the lead also heating up, but it's not as close as this one for third place. And again, Nichols can't get through.
Still trying though in the battle for third place. A little bit further down, them in Hoverton's on the back of Jason Iverson. James Hillerick has just been overtaken by Marshall Crocker Jr. Further down, Joey Manges has been overtaken by Alan Purser and one of the Modricks as well. There are the conditions, by the way, on the right-hand side. 29 degrees on the circuit, so a bit cooler than what it was in qualifying, but we are racing in May. I think these drivers will be maybe slightly glad that we're not doing December, but in Irish it never really gets too cold, to be honest, so while it might be freezing probably up in Montreal at the moment, because it's December, it would not be like that in our racing. Here comes Alfie Nichols down the inside, and oh, they just about give each other space. You lose so much time fighting at this circuit, and that's going to be writ large for us here. And this battle, Nichols down to the inside now for the hairpin.
Yeah, he's going to try and put it on the inside at the moment. Hard on the brakes he's going to go. If Young goes in a little bit deeper, should be able to get the exit out. He's got a good run out as Young. Now he's going to try and muscle Nichols around on that one. I do notice the clouds as well, Nick. They have come in quite quick over above us at this moment in time, but they're going to be side by side going down that back stretch, coming into the right-hander of 13 and 14. Now, we've said too wide doesn't work. Is it going to work? The man who's got his nose up front, they're going to try and go too wide, are they? No, Nichols gets the job over him. Young almost backs out. Very reluctantly, I think, for Hayden Young, but he's going to get a run down into turn one.
He is going to have a chance here again. Outside line, it's not going to work. And he has to stay in the wheel tracks of Alfie Nichols, who takes that third place away. He's had such a good last few weeks, by the way, Alfie Nichols. He's been on the podium every single race this season, right from the way it started at Monza. He got the win, his first win at Fuji, then Hockenheim, then last week at Mosport he won again. It's going to be a big job for him to win for a fourth time in a row here, but he could keep his run of podiums on the go as more traffic comes up to them now. There's been so much going on early on here that we've barely got any of this race done before traffic has become a factor.
Yeah. No, there was a big chaos at the beginning, wasn't it? It caused everything bunched up as well. Just been known by Steve that temperatures in Montreal are minus 13.
Exactly.
I don't think they would be able to get into iRacing. That would be interesting, having snow.
You know, I do wish that, that in iRacing it was possible for the track to be too cold. At the moment, there's sort of a base layer of warmth for the track, and it's never, you never have problems with tyre warm-up like you would see in real life on a really cold day, on cold tyres. But we don't have that in our racing yet. I would like to see that, although I'm not sure -13 is going to be added anytime soon, because that would be difficult, I think, to put it mildly, for these drivers to deal with. Alfie Nichols holds on then through the final couple of corners, and he is now third in the overall and indeed in pro, but a big gap now up ahead. He's probably going to focus first on getting rid of Hayden Young here.
Yeah, he's got to try and drop Hayden Young, and Young's not letting him go through at this moment in time. Sepulveda's just had an incident and unfortunately is off, facing the wrong way coming into the hairpin. Not gonna lie, not the best way of facing. I do wonder if that was all on his own for Jeff Sepulveda. Looks a bit weird that he's facing the opposite way.
Oh, okay. He's how has he ended up where he is now then? He's got spun around there pretty normally. What on earth is he doing driving around like that for?
Maybe he didn't
made himself do the hairpin again.
Maybe he didn't think he was able to get it round.
I don't really know what his thinking is here, to be honest with you. He's cost himself an awful lot of time.
I do wonder if there was contact with that Porsche.
I think there was, yeah. We'll see on this shot here. And
yeah,
there you go.
I
think maybe he was sliding anyway, but he was certainly helped on his way by that Porsche. And that's Jeff Sepulveda all the way down to, well, 6th place in class. Not sure where he is overall, but yeah, a few positions dropped there for Sepulveda. He is still ahead, though, as far as the championship is concerned, of Joey Mains. So Mains still in 28th place. Jim Sawyer back up to 33rd, so they'd be tied on points as things stand.
Yeah, Steve's advice currently at the moment, if you are going to commentate in Montreal, boys, wrap up.
Yes, in real life.
In real life, yeah. So I'm not quite sure if he's invited us over and he's going to pay for his tickets, or not sure what the situation is. But I think, Steve, we're open to offers if you want us to come and commentate in Montreal.
By the way, I'm surprised it is so cold. I'm pretty sure Montreal is lower, closer to the equator than we are right now. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's like level with like France. So why is it so cold? I don't know.
Are you sorry? What?
What?
Montreal is level with France.
Yeah, if you on a map, if you see what I mean, in terms of
what, on a flat map? You mean, not on a ball?
On a Google Maps, whatever that is.
Yeah, you're right, but it is -13 currently.
That doesn't make any sense. Why is it not? It's 11 degrees here, positive. I don't know. Anyway, I suppose the weather is a bit different in different parts of the world. Hayden gets close again to Alfie Nichols. He's not showing any signs of getting through anytime soon. Mikey Rogers and Bradley Lovings pretty close to each other as well. The top 15, I've got to say, have really calmed down in these last few moments. So ever since that huge smash for Alan Purser and the rest of them, and David Van Roy, it's really got a lot calmer, other than maybe a few battles here or there, of which, ironically, Alan Purser's involved in one of them.
Oh, Bonte. Matthews for the AM Championship, for the AM lead. Ah, you're bumping him round. No. Can't do that.
Oh, he's not. Oh dear, he's just about got round as well.
Was he bumping him, or did he just lean into him?
Well, they're side by side. Who's not giving the room to the other here?
Oh, he's so far away from the apex as well. Bonte.
Yeah, also, he would have had quite a lot of lock on there. So actually, it would have been quite difficult for him to get back onto the apex at all there. Even if he slowed down, so that's a very difficult one to call, to be honest. It might just be a racing incident in the end. Alan Purser's got past T. Pollinger further on in the background as Cody Bont continued on in the lead of the AMs, now by 6 seconds. He's not slowing down to let Curtis Matthews back through, and what should be doing really. In towards the final corner for this battle for 22nd. I'm amazed Purser's actually up here at the moment, considering the crash he had earlier on.
Oh, the torpedo?
Yeah.
He literally came in like an Exocet missile, didn't he? Hit the grass and that was it. It was just, you almost wanted to shout strike at the end of it. But Alan Purser, I'm sure he'll regret it. I'm sure he'll apologise for it as well. Nichols and Young still not really dropping. But that is Joey Mains in behind him, and Joey's in 27th.
Sure, I think he's just struggling, to be honest, Joey Mains, in this race today. He's not had any incidents as far as I'm aware. He wasn't caught up with Alan Purser and the rest of them down there, although his championship rival JT Sawyer was. So I don't really know, but there he is pulling wide now for Nichols and Young to go through. To be a lap down after 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes, it's pretty peculiar when you've not had an incident.
That's the thing, isn't it? This track throws so many people out of sorts. Can't see anything. I will have a search and see if I can. Joey Mains went off track on lap 5. Which was this.
Might not be anything other than just a small off-track moment, but we'll see if it is a crash that could, well, give us any clues. No, just runs off the road. I just think he's not enjoying this circuit, to be honest with you, very much. We all have those kind of circuits that we don't really like. And so this might be that one for him, as he's down in 27th at the moment, but we'll find out. Richard Wested, meanwhile, gets past Adam Hansen there, up to second place now. He's chasing down Bradley Tidwell. Can he maybe overcome that spin down there at turn 8? And of course losing his rear wing as well to maybe come back through and try and win this race. Got a bit of a way to go till that yet.
Yeah, that Pro-Am and Michael Chaplin's just been lapped. Modric is a pro, he's been lapped. Bowen, Van Roy, is Van Roy still going? He's still out there. Fair play to David Van Roy, but he's been lapped. Bowen's been lapped. JT Sawyer's been lapped. Mike Elliott's been lapped. Cameron Risley's been lapped. There was a lot of people lapped earlier on as well. Low FPS, 4X Racing is a goated team, just letting you know. If one of them was out in the lead, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, none of them are at the moment, but
no.
I think Alfie Nichols is closest in the practice, so I think it's fair enough today that Alfie Nichols is maybe not quite on the pace that we've seen for him in the last 3 weeks because of that practice, but either way, he's still having a good race regardless. Rogers going round the outside there, I think, through turn 5, just making his way through and still holding off Bradley Lovings. That's a very good run from the Porsche. Rogers didn't quite maximise the exit there, and Bradley Lovings is coming through on the outside line. Here he goes. Going to be a bit of a squeeze here into the chicane, and he will have to... Oh, Rogers has gone off, trying to hold on to the place. That will give Bradley Lovings at 5th place pretty decisively.
Yeah, Lovings will go through. I was interested to see the fact that Lovings had his window wipers on at one point. I'm not recognising rain, so I don't think that's quite on its way, but I was a little bit surprised that he was rocking his window wipers so early on. But no rain on the currently at this moment in time. Alfie Nichols and Hayden Young back together.
They are all of and so are the leaders, actually, all of a sudden. Fastest lap of the race there from Ryan Merriam, who was briefly under half a second off the lead. And now all of a sudden, Brian Faluna under pressure again. He's never really put Ryan Merriam quite out of sight yet. And I get the feeling that in this last half an hour, the pit stop is going to play a big role in who's going to win this race. And
the pit stops will be in within the next sort of 10 minutes, I would have thought. So who's going to come out the other side and be victorious? That's going to be the question. Whether or not Faluna can get in and out, whether or not Merriam's going to cover him off, who knows?
Yeah, Steve's just done the the latitude measurements.
So you're out by quite a lot then.
No, I was okay, I think.
Montreal is 45.5019 north, Paris is 48.8575 north, and London is 51.5072 north. See, that don't make sense. If you put that on, if you look at that on a globe, that doesn't make sense. That Montreal is lower than London. It doesn't make sense.
True. I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, clearly, if that is the longitude and latitude, I agree with you. But if you put that on a globe, that does not make sense.
Also, Paris is quite North France, so bear that in mind as well. It's It's probably level with the south of France or something. Anyway, we're getting very caught up in this. But anyway, 29 minutes to go, and a new personal best for Brian Villeneuve, although it wasn't quite as fast as Ryan Merriam even on that last lap. So he really is under pressure now. 10.5 quicker there, Merriam. Didn't get quite as good of an exit out of turn number 2, and the two, I think, are going to just run like this until the pit stops, and then that's going to be the key moment. But Merriam's got to stay as close as he possibly can, effectively, here for the remainder of this first stint. Try and have a short pit stop and get out ahead of him. But the easiest way to make an overtake round here, by far, is in the pit lane.
It is, yes, I agree with you. I think they've got to try and get that pit stop cycle and get it done, but it's just going to be very, very tough for them to do, I do believe, at the same time. So, yeah, Merriam's got to try something. Lost a bit of time over this point. Hayden Young and Nichols still together, and Nichols has now got a back marker in front of him who does kindly exit out the way.
That's a load of gravel that's somehow found its way onto turn 8 and 9, by the way, all over the road. So the cars are not smoking. It's just the dust being kicked up. It's all over the road down there. And these two very much as they were, really. Sepulveda's very close to Gardner at the moment for 22nd place. It's quite a long way down, though. Joey Mains has gained some places a little bit further down as well, but pit stops are starting to happen here. Joey Mains has been in, by the way, on lap 12, so maybe that's why he's going a lap down to some of the others. 26 seconds in the pit lane, seems like. Or is it, I'm reading the wrong line, apologies. That's Michael Champlin who's been in the pit lane. I apologise. Alfie Nichols, meanwhile, is in pit lane. This is proper scheduled pit stops now. We haven't seen very many of them yet, but Nichols has kicked it off with Bradley Lovings following him.
Yeah, Lovins has gone in, and Philippe de la Cruz has gone in behind him as well. This is around about the right time, but it depends on how they're going to get on and out. They were sat in traffic for quite a while, so following each other, so I thought they might have been able to go a little bit longer, but clearly not.
Well, they might be choosing to be honest, go a bit shorter. So I'm not sure how long they can actually go on fuel, but they might just be choosing to come in now. Alfie Nichols might well find himself out behind Barry Acker here. That would not be good if he gets himself out in a bit of traffic here. The pit exit, of course, does help you, but he got the pit exit wrong, as we saw in qualifying. So is he going to get out ahead of Barry Acker? It looks like he just about has. So Nichols is in about 6 seconds of clean air there, with Hansen just up ahead of him. That is very... Oh, well, I said clean air. He's got lap traffic, but that is ideal for him, that he doesn't have to make any on-track overtakes. He's going to have to do some fast laps now, and he's going to hope to get ahead again of Hayden Young.
Yeah. Young hasn't gone in. Young has got pretty much clean track right the way through, because he's only got the leaders in front of him. There is Faluna, there is Ryan Merriam. So Young at the moment is in prime position. If Nichols has come out and held himself up a little bit with the back markers and the fact that he's got Barry Acker in behind, it's a little bit tough for, I think, for Nichols to possibly hold on to this one.
Black car on the inside line, just staying out the way, holding on to the inside line, and now pulling to the right again on the exit. That's Modric in the Porsche, and he's going to get in the middle of them as well. Barry Acker is going to get right behind, and now to try and pull through on Rick Modric, who finally does lift off to the right-hand side and lets them both in just in time for the chicane. Barry Acker is going to find it difficult to pit in now with Alfie Nichols right up ahead. He can't go flying into the pit lane like Nichols did, because he's got a driver right in front of him. It's another thing you have to think about when you're making one of these pit stops. You've got to make sure there's no one right in front of you so you don't completely pile drive them into the pit lane. But Hayden Young is got a clear entry now as well, so it's going to be I think a pretty close race between Nichols and Young, actually. Yeah,
we'll keep an eye out on that one as well. Steve, you did not have to do that, but thank you very much for that in YouTube chat. Again, you didn't have to. But Hayden Young is going to be able to go into pit lane without any problems. The top 7 are going to be able to do the same. Westhead, Tidwell, Heron, Rogers, Young, Merriam and Faluna. They're going to be able to just drive straight in. Now, the question is whether or not Hayden Young's going to go in now, or whether he feels he's got enough to go one more lap. Not quite sure what the weaving was about on that one. But for me, I personally, why I've got clear track, he's going again still feels like he's got enough. Ryan Merriam's gone again as well, and Faluna. So maybe he's not in a quiet company while Alfie Nichols was bustling through traffic and then trying to get on there because he's got another lap car in front of him.
Let's see what the lap time is for Nichols this time round. I think it could be a good strategy for Young here to stay out on the circuit, because he's on low fuel at the moment, he's in clean air, and Nichols is being hounded by Barry Acker at the moment, who's also on low fuel but wants the clean air, ahead of Nichols, who now has to let him through pretty much. He's got his nose ahead, Barry Acker, and so Alfie Nichols just has to pull out the way, and he'll be hoping that Acker keeps the pit lane. This is getting awkward now for Alfie Nichols. This could be costing him a third place in this race with 23 minutes to go. Out over the line now for Nichols. Let's have a look at the time. Hayden Young, it was a 36.7. That's very quick, by the way. Quite close to the overall fastest. 40.4. It's a disaster of a lap for Alfie Nichols.
Oh, absolutely horrendous. That is not something that he wants to be caught up in. He really needs to, I don't know, you need to lose Acker and you need to get on your bike. That's basically it. You know, you need to drop him and then move on, because otherwise you are going to get stuck and get struggling. Cheney and Everson further down. Jason Everson there made a little bit of a hash of turn number 1, and now he's going to be under attack from Jeremy Cheney. Cheney's going to take the inside line. Everson says, enough's enough, yours is the door. Ballooners in pit lane.
Yeah, from the lead. So, to be honest, seeing what's happening to Nichols right now, I wouldn't be particularly eager to come in if I was Brian Faluna, but anyway, might be out of fuel. End of pit lane, of course, he's going to get to right before the pace car. He finds his box rather nicely. What was the pit stop time for Nichols? It was 22.9, so expect something a bit similar to that, probably 22 or less for Faluna.
Look at Nichols at the moment.
And look at this. Nichols is behind, or back ahead, I should say, of Bradley Lovings, who's now hounding him here for a position. This is turning into a real disaster for Alfie Nichols now as they pass a lap car. Oh, Lovings trying to go through the middle here, and he's going to get to the inside as the final corners. He brakes later, braver on the brakes, and he gets through ahead of Alfie Nichols, who's seeing his podium place slip away.
Yeah, Alfie is going backwards faster than he's going forwards. That's not an easy achievement, but somehow Mr. Nichols is achieving it. He is just, since that pit stop, he's come out, he's been in traffic, he's just been in a rotten position. Now this is interesting. Look at the leaders of the AMS in the championship. Joey Means and JT Sawyer, both of them together on track.
Here they go in towards the final corners. Sawyer's had a difficult afternoon, of course, with that big accident down at the hairpin earlier on. Joey Mains has had a difficult afternoon because, quite frankly, I don't think he likes this circuit very much. And so they are suddenly together again. Meanwhile, in the background, you can see in the top right of your screen, Ryan Merriam's into the pit lane. He's not left it very long. I don't think they've got too much fuel on board, though, as I mentioned earlier, because Hayden Young's in as well. Wonder whether Mikey Rogers will do the same from third place, because he had the second fastest practice time. Never really got going in qualifying. Now he's trying to get going in the race. There goes Brian Faluna.
He's going to milk this.
Lap cars, and here he goes, Faluna into the final chicane. Remember, the pit exit is a lot shorter than going round the racetrack and going round turn 1. So Faluna needs to be wary of that as Ryan Merriam makes his way out, but it looks like Faluna's going to be miles in front. Yes, he is a long, long way in front. Ryan Merriam is out of the pit lane again. He was way longer in the pit lane. Brian Faluna only 12 seconds in the box. That's very short.
Yeah, that's literally 8 seconds slower than anyone. There is no way Faluna is either filled up or got that completely peaked on, or he's just pulled an absolute masterstroke. 19 minutes on the track, he's 8 seconds quicker in the box than Ryan Merriam, 6 seconds quicker than Hayden Young, 6 seconds quicker than Josh Herring. There is no way he's done enough. Mikey Rogers has got that well wrong, if that's right, because he's 11 seconds slower than Brian Faluna. And Faluna somehow has opened up 30 seconds to Rogers, 31 to Young. He's either done something completely amazing or has just got that pit stop completely wrong.
Yeah, I fear that it might be the second one, but we'll see. I think he's going to need a lot of fuel saving. I think he could be 3 or 4 laps short, to be honest with you, if he's going to make it home. But anyway, that is going to be a story that develops, of course. Ryan Merriam second, Hayden Young, as we expected, is third, partly because Alfie Nichols is coming again for some reason. He is, where is he now? 16th after a second pit stop on this race. So no idea what's happened to Alfie Nichols, I'm afraid, but he's actually quite closer, much closer to being lapped than he is to the podium. Hayden Young now holding that one, and I'm sure Melanie Young will be very pleased about that. A good morning or afternoon to you and everyone, of course, watching along. There are your pit stop times. I'm slightly sceptical of those tyres, if I'm honest with you.
That is a lot to be sceptical about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Dela Cruz and Hansen are not on wets, I would guess.
You would guess.
Although Nicholas Marshall's starting to stir the pot a bit, saying, "Did I see a raindrop?" I think he's just trying to encourage rain, to be honest. But no, I don't think it is raining yet. It is very dark though, isn't it, compared to what we had to start with? Yeah,
it is very, very dark indeed. Now, surely he can't have gone on to.
He's not on wets.
They've got grooves on.
Let's see for the left-hander. Let's see properly. I don't believe that. I'm not believing
watch here.
that.
Watch here.
I can't see any grooves there, personally. But, he was quite slow on the last lap. I will give you that.
There you go. Look at Hansen's tyres.
Hansen as well. I can't see grooves there.
You can't? Are you blind? Are you blind?
No. Someone get a torch out, please. I can't. Well, maybe I suppose, but it's very faint. I mean, maybe I can't. Maybe I need my eyes tested, but I can't see that.
Can anybody? Right. I'm not hearing the broadcast. Is it just you? Well, I hope so, because everything on my end's working. Stays. So.
I can hear us on the broadcast. So.
Oh, but that's fine. You can hear us. That's fine. That's all right. Yes. Maybe refresh. I'm hearing things fine, Beverly. Okay. I can see grooves on them tyres. Whereas if I go on to, what car is he in, the Ford? If I go on to Wested's car, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He's on wets. Got it all wrong.
He's either preempted this rain by a long way, or he's, well, I don't know what he's done, to be honest. Dela Cruz, then, what's this lap time going to be? This will be a good marker. 42.6. Maybe the fact he's 6 seconds off the pace is a sign that he might indeed be on wets.
Is Balluna going to get to the end?
I'm going to say no. That's my prediction.
You don't reckon?
No. I mean, it's not often a great sign if your pit stop is 5.5 seconds shorter than anybody else.
No.
I mean, that's about...
I was being optimistic. Maybe he pulled a masterstroke.
I mean, fair play to him if he has, but his pit stop's 30% shorter than anybody else in the field. And I just, when the pit stops are so short anyway, to lose that many seconds in such a short pit stop, it is just impossible, I think. So I'm afraid I don't think it's going to go well. We'll see, though, as Alan Purser gets onto the back of the wet tyre runners.
Dela Cruz.
We believe them to be wet tyre runners anyway. Dela Cruz is off the road. He's all over the place. Look at Purser. He's just going to drive past Hansen and Dela Cruz here with ease.
It's rain.
Because he's on the dry tyres. Round the outside he goes and into... At 9th place goes Alan Purser. What a great recovery after this big incident down at the hairpin. As it is raining. It looks like it is raining now to me.
Yeah, we have got rain.
Yeah, we are. It is raining. And a crash in the background. Big crash. Hansen's in the wall. After contact, he's lost his rear wing. He was waiting for this moment. He was waiting to utilise those wet tyres. He's not going to anymore as he's made contact there with the Porsche. I think he's come across on the Porsche, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's Barry Acker, who was on his right-hand side.
Oh, yeah. He had the thing is now, the only one on rain tyres at the front is Dela Cruz. Alfie's just...
going to be ruined.
Well, maybe... But they're only 4 laps old without rain. They've now got rain. So we'll have to see what the weather permitted is. I know he's probably going to turn them into slicks. I get it. I do.
Yeah,
but
I'm just exactly what he's done.
I'm just thinking whether or not he's going to be able to utilise this.
So, by the way, Brian Faluna may have played a genius strategy here, because if they have to require wets later, it means he can put some more fuel in while he's changing the tyres. So actually, he might have played an absolute masterstroke, because he's sort of split his fuel across 2 stops if he was expecting to come in. I still don't think he's going to make it if he stays out, but he might be coming in again yet.
It's not raining heavy enough.
Well, not yet, but there's still quarter of an hour to go.
I don't know. I don't know if it's raining heavy enough for me. I don't know if it's going to make an impact, because I've seen a race before where it rains on lap 12, it keeps raining right the way through to lap 30, and they're still on dry tyres. If it just trickles, I think that's the thing. I don't think it's enough.
And a person's in already. That's a bit early.
This system it gets so technical at the way it filters rain and the way that it covers the racetrack. I do wonder whether or not it's enough for them to go and get wet, or they can stay on dries. That is a very bad entry. That re-entry
no. That's the Pro-Am lead battle. And Richard Wedstead and Bradley Tidwell have come into contact with each other. It was lap traffic right in front of them. The Porsche rejoins back onto the circuit. Tidwell there.
Bro.
Well, he wasn't expecting the Porsche to be there. And then they both roll back onto the circuit. That's not good either. So,
he is going to get shot. That was absolutely awful. I have to be honest, Curtis, that was a 0 IQ moment there, bud. You literally brought that on straight back in and took out 2 people. Not only were they in different class, but they were leading their class and they were a lap in front of him.
However, I think Bradley Tidwell, it does need to take a bit of responsibility actually, because he would have seen Matthews still on the inside there. He drove through like Matthews wasn't there and caused the incident as well. So I don't think that's quite all in one person's blame there actually.
What? How? He literally is off the circuit. The leaders are coming through and then he drives.
But Tidwell's watching him. Tidwell's watching what he's doing on the racing line. He drives like he's not there.
That's because 9 out of 10 times he shouldn't be there. He should have lifted and waited for them to go through.
Well, it's difficult to come to a complete stop like that.
No, you don't. You just lift.
Dead stop.
You just lift.
Oh dear. And his car's very damaged, by the way, Bradley Tidwell. He's got no rear end. You can see the entire inner workings of a Lamborghini there, if you want to. And well, the suspension is toast as well. I saw him crabbing on the front straight at Bradley Tidwell, just waiting now for everybody to go through. He's probably resigned to the fact that he's not going to be winning this afternoon now, and the championship leader is going to lose some ground, although Richard Modric, Quentin Price are not really there to take advantage of it. So well, difficult for Bradley Tidwell. Another incident there for Richard Wedstead. I think he's lost his second rear wing of the day. So he's going to hope that his team have got a third one for him at his pit stop if he needs to make one.
I mean, it depends if he's used his fast repair. If he's used that already, he is in the shop. But we're going to jump down to the AM lead now, because there is Mr. Hillerick out in first place.
How does that?
I don't know. He's just gone past Alan Purse. I don't know. He's up 11 places. He kept it clean. He missed the flying Alan Purser earlier on, and now he's going to lead in the AMs again.
Remarkable, really. Can't really believe it. To be fair, he was probably the least damaged of those who were involved in the incident, but even so, he still got involved in it, and somehow he's leading by 20 seconds now. Is he going to win for the second week in a row? Oh God, he's going to be pessimistic for the rest of his life at this rate.
Hey, I would be.
It's clearly working for him at the moment. He's exceeding his own expectations every week, and probably everybody else's as well. He's just on the back of Jeremy Cheney now, in 15th place. Cheney, by the way, is on the wet tyres, so this should be pretty easy. The wet tyres still are not the tyre to be on. De La Cruz last time round did a 43.3 the race leader, I mean, Mikey Rogers did a 36.6. We're still a long way off wets. But Brian Falluna's in. Brian Falluna's out of fuel, basically, so he's had to be in. He's got to make this risk with the wet tyres because he was going to run out of fuel. This is an extraordinary finish to this race.
You can't. You can't take wets. It is not wet enough. Take your fuel, get out your box, go. Do not take wet tyres. It is not wet enough for wet tyres.
He may have come to that conclusion as well here.
Right,
8 seconds in the box.
Yeah, that's better.
So,
that was the 8 seconds he lost when he went in there the first time. Or they magically disappeared somehow. It's not...
So,
yeah.
He was never going to make it. He was never going to make it on that. I do think he was hoping for wetter conditions that he could pit with and take some more fuel in, because of course you take fuel and tyres at the same time these days, so it would have been a bit more beneficial. I personally would have taken the risk on the wets. It depends how much he really wants the podium place, to be honest. But if he was going for sort of win or bust kind of, I mean, he hasn't been on the podium this season, so I suppose he probably does want to just secure third. But if he wanted to go win or go home, then I would have put the wet tyres on, because it's not going to get any drier. It's only going to get wetter, so you might as well take the risk, in my opinion. But clearly he wants the podium, and that's completely understandable as well, because he hasn't had one this season.
Yeah, Damien O'Vaton's got wets on. I don't think...
Last time he did a 41.8, still too slow.
Yeah, but considering Merriam's on with 37.3, they're not even anywhere near a crossover point. There's like a 5-second difference at this moment in time.
Well, it can happen very quickly, so I wouldn't say we're miles away, but indeed, with only 7.5 minutes to go, it's almost getting to the stage where even if the wet tyres were better at this stage, you might want to stay out anyway. Over the line for Merriam, 37.1 again. It's just damp. It's not really getting any wetter, and it is barely raining, really.
Yeah, it is. It's just trickling down at the moment. That's what we were saying. It's not even really... It is on the...
wipers.
Yeah, it doesn't even really need wipers to see. You've still got some patches on the racetrack. So I would stay as we are. I think get this and not even think about changing tyres. Looking at the time remaining, there are about 5 laps to go. Would a set of wets last that long, even in these slightly damp conditions, do you think? I don't think the need of them. I think if you put them on, you are likely to do what the guys below are doing. Philippe de la Cruz, a 141, Hovaton, a 142. Leader on dries, 137. I think these are going to be, before they actually need them, I think they're going to be more slick tyres than they actually have got any grip on them.
Yeah, I think the much bigger problem is the speed rather than the tyre life. I think, to be honest, you could probably smash them up for the final 5 laps, and they probably would last anyway, but I don't think that's the main problem. It is certainly about the speed of those tyres just not quite being quick enough. There is some water starting to be kicked up down there at the hairpin now, where it does seem to be probably wettest, and maybe a little bit of the chicane as well, but still a long way from the end of the race, a long way from the crossover point, and not that very long from the end of the race here. I mean, this is a perfect example. This is Overton in 11th place on the wet tyres, with the race leader behind him on dries. The time difference last time around
4 seconds.
Nearly 4 seconds, so it's not the tyre to be on, I'm afraid. These conditions are just not getting wet enough, quickly enough, because wipers are still not being required, never mind anything else.
Yeah, I think that was the thing, Steve. We said about Falluna, if he had to go in to possibly take the chance on wets. But really, I would have taken the chance on wets if it absolutely chucked it down on his head. I think if they were in all of a sudden fuel torrentials, then put the wets on. But I don't think, it's not even raining enough for window wipers. We've still got dry patches, the sunlight's all across the circuit. You can see the lines coming off. It's drying as quick as it's hitting the floor. You know, we're still sitting outside at the moment, 19 degrees, 18 on track. It's just not wet enough to need wet tyres. And the difference at the moment, Merriam's 37, leading wet runner is still on a 41, 43. So it's very, very difficult. Did Alfie put rain tyres on? I didn't see him put rain tyres on. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility.
I don't know. Well, not according to our graphic, he's got dries on. So that's what.
No, they were saying he's made.
Stop. Sorry, I didn't really follow that message. No, I don't think so. Actually, I don't think so. I don't know what he did, but he made 2 stops for some reason. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. He didn't like he was struggling, so maybe that is an option. But I didn't see wets on at the time. But I was pretty sceptical about anyone being on wets at the time. So there you go. 4 minutes to go. 3 laps to go, probably
42.
as well for Ryan Merriam, who's now slipped into the 38s, but still a couple of seconds quicker than those on wets. Even if it was wet right now, they as you said earlier, they'd probably be a bit more like slicks, to be honest, for those guys who are currently persevering with them.
Yeah, and there's 4 seconds still as well. Paul Baton, who we can generally use as a target of time, 1:42, I believe it was, last time out, and he got lapped, 1:42.74. Ryan Merriam still at 1:38.55, so we're still 2 seconds away from any remote crossover, and we've probably got about 2 laps to go, possibly 3, depending on how they get on. But at the moment, stay as you are, stay on the dries, and I wouldn't bother trying to change.
3, including the one we're on at the moment, to go. As that's Dela Cruz just up in front of Merriam. Another example of dries versus wets. And another example of someone being lapped here. Only 9 left on the lead lap. What an extraordinary race this has been. I think I said it last week, to be fair, at Mosport when the rain came down. I'm pretty sure we had a similar finish on the lead lap as well. But you lose laps very, very quickly around here in such a spread out field as we've got today.
Yeah, you do, and I think that's the problem. You know, look at them. You know, up into Barry Acker, who's not actually that far up the road. He's only just going into 1. And we've got 1 and 1 more to go as he crosses over below the 2:40. So there's going to be 1 and 1 more. And there's still no people who've taken that chance. And fair play to them, because we never knew what the rain amount was going to be, right? We knew that it was going to. We didn't know how much. But the people who have taken wets, kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit.
But on another day, they could look like the geniuses. So, you know, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're either hero or zero, aren't you?
Yeah, you are really. Yeah. So that looks like it, in terms of battles, actually, might be pretty much it, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Jason Iverson will be catching Darian Hoverton pretty quickly here late on because of the tyre situation we've been talking about. James Hillerick there as well. So there might be changes there on the lower end of the top 10 in these final 2 laps, but there isn't very long to go. Just under 4 seconds that gap last time round, and he caught by 2.3 last time. So Iverson might be there by the very end of the race, but it could be quite tricky for him. In the Pro Championship, Bradley Lovings is ahead of Josh Heron again here for the third week in a row. So his championship lead's going to grow to 12 points as things stand. In Pro-Am, Bradley Tidwell has dropped down the field now, and so it's sort of opened things up a little bit there. He is down to 14th, but Quentin Price is out of the race after only 10 laps of this one, so he's not going to gain anything there. And Richard Modric is behind Bradley Tidwell as well here, so that is he's not here by the looks of things actually. So it's going to be another gain for Bradley Tidwell, who's starting to really stretch his legs and stretch away in that championship. And JT Sawyer has really rescued his situation today with Joey Maines struggling so much in these conditions. Sawyer is in 27th place, Joey Maines is in 23rd, so Sawyer would hang on to the championship lead as things stand in the AMS, despite everything that JT Sawyer has gone through today.
Yeah, Damien Horvaten has done something wrong here.
Okay.
Oh, somebody's missed their braking point. Late. I think you might have
stopped there. Turned in.
Yeah, I think, and Gardner did the same in the background underneath him. Is this series that runs time plus 1 lap? Basically, the way the system works is if they're not going to, so you've got 55 minutes race. If you're on 54 and you go over the line, because you're not going to complete a lap, that's effectively the final lap. So it will be as close to the time as you can get. So basically, if you go over on 54 minutes and 30 seconds, with 30 seconds to go, you get 1 more lap. If you go over anything after that, you're obviously, it's over. If that makes sense.
The first time you cross the line effectively when time elapses is the point. And finally, a bit more spray being kicked up by the leaders at the moment, but still not even time for wets now. It's been a bizarre ending to the race as the second week in a row we see rain here in the OGRL Coffee Cup our Canadian Tour ends with Ryan Merriam taking a victory here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. A great drive from him, best strategy, clean race, and he wins by just over 6 seconds.
Yeah, stunning job. Absolutely stunning job by Ryan Merriam. Brian Faluna ended up in third due to making a pit stop error. Ryan Wested should win the Pro-Ams with no wing, mind you.
James Hillerich's going to win the AMS, by the way, because he's lapped down. He just crossed the line there behind Deming Hovden. Didn't quite get him towards the end, but second week in a row, he wins both races of this Canadian Tour. James Hillerich, that's a fantastic job from him. Richard Weston, though, yes, he's going to win this race with his second rear wing off by the side of the road. He's lost it in the first stint after a spin down there at turn 8 and clipping the wall when he was trying to rejoin again in a very awkward moment while he was stuck down a marshal's post. Then he had contact with Bradley Tidwell and Curtis Matthews. Lost his second rear wing of the day, but his car fundamentally wasn't too damaged, and he can cross the line as a Pro-Am race winner. Richard Wedstead with a great drive, and he again gets the race win, also for the second time in these two American races. So he does a great job there, especially in terms of recovering from incidents, which he had a couple of today.
Joey Means in behind Curtis Matthews. Joey there's coming over 6th in class. Matthews is there. I believe that is somebody next to him. I think there's a back marker in and around him. Barry Acker, so that's actually not somebody in front. And Joey Means comes over the line there as well, finishes 6th overall. So there you go. Oh, okay, I know there are some series that when one's time runs out, the finish line, yeah, no, it's not like that. So there we go. But great job, great race for everybody. And again, rain tyres weren't really needed.
Not really in the end, despite the wet weather. So there we go. Ryan Merriam wins the race by 6.7 seconds at Brian Faluna, with Mikey Rogers and Bradley Lovings rounding out the top 5. Josh Heron loses more ground in the championship with 6th, with Richard Wedstead winning in Pro-Am. Nalfi Nichols and Barry Acker were the final drivers on the lead lap, with Philip De La Cruz 1 lap down. Of course, the first of those who put wet tyres on during this race. Jason Iverson got past Deming Hovden at the end. James Hillerich wins in Am in 13th at Bradley Tidwell, the Pro-Am Championship leader. Alan Purcell, Jeremy Cheney were next to Heath Follinger and Jeff Sepulveda, who will get an Am podium. 19th place was Adam Hansen, with top 20 rounded out by Basil. It was Curtis Matthews in 21st and Joey Mains, who gets a bit closer in the AM Championship and actually gets tied on points with Sawyer. Cody Bont was also 1 lap down, Richard Bowen first driver 2 laps down. John Gardner was 25th ahead of Michael Champlin. Jim Sawyer was 27th in the end. Rick Modric, Matthew Brennan also 2 laps down. Devin Roy, Mike Elliott and Cam Rizzi 3 laps down. Marshall Crocker Jr., Mark Long, Jonathan Williams, Perno Hallow and Kenton Price all retired from the race. Let's have a chat again to the race winner overall, shall we? Ryan Merriam, who can now join us. Welcome in, Ryan. Congratulations. Winner by 6 seconds in the end. Just how difficult were those conditions to deal with towards the end?
Well, how you doing, guys? They were getting tricky for sure. I tell you, I cannot understand this iRacing forecast thing. All week long, it says 98% chance of rain, right? So we're all sitting here thinking like guaranteed rain boots today, and it just starts spitting towards the end, and I'm on dry tires the whole time. So I don't know. I'll take it. It's Brian had the pace on me. He misfueled his car, so it's a shame, but I'll take the W for sure.
Yeah, it's unpredictable weather, like real life, I seem to find. So I quite enjoy it personally. What was it like practicing in the week then, knowing that? Were you putting any time into dry running?
Oh, yeah. Out this week, no. I pretty much focused all wet, and I was feeling really, really good in the wet here. So I was just kind of sitting back there in P2, just kind of waiting for it to start downpouring, because I was pretty confident I could take P1 in the wet. But yeah, just kept on, staying dry. And then I was like, man, I might have to actually I might have to win this in the dry, and I don't think I could have. So it's funny. I'm glad Montreal's one of my better tracks, so I'm glad it worked out in the end.
Well, congratulations on that win. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, for sure. You guys, great broadcasting. Really enjoying it. My mother, she's always in chat cheering me on, so that's great. And today I got to give a special shout out to my boy Jeremy Cheney because he woke me up about 5 minutes before quali started, so I almost missed it. So thanks to him, I'm here and we got the W. So
Well done. Congratulations on the win, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
awesome, guys. We'll take it easy. We'll talk to you next time, hopefully.
And your mum.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Ryan Merriam. They're the winner tonight in the damn it, in the race. We've got a lot of people to get through, by the way, so we'll get on with it. Although Brian Faluna, by the way, just before I get to that, says in YouTube chat that he was under fueled. I don't know what that means, especially.
CAPS is a system. It is like an overlay that underfueled him.
See, just do the maths yourself, Brian. It's okay.
Or just go iRacing. Seems to work for me, mate. I got to be honest, Brian.
You can get overfueled, so it's difficult to. Anyway, it is very difficult, and a real shame if that is indeed the case for Brian Faluna, who probably would have won otherwise, but difficult to say because Ryan Merriam was quite close. Let's go to second place, where Hayden Young, of course, has managed to get there, the first of the non-American drivers. Congratulations, Hayden, on second. How was that race this afternoon?
That was really hard. I've had a sickness bug for the last 2 days, so I genuinely woke up this morning, didn't even know if I was going to do that.
So I'm guessing not much practice then.
Yeah, I got a bit. It's not the hardest of tracks, is it? It's not too bad. It's not my favourite at all, but it went all right. It went all right. Did some good moves.
And produces good racing in the end. So, what was your thoughts on the battle with yourself and Alfie Nichols as well? You were battling over third place for a while. He pitted very early. Did you think you could jump in by going a bit further?
Yeah. I was sat behind him for a while. I was just saving fuel, and I was just. I didn't know he was going to pit earlier, but I just thought, right, when he's pitted, that was it. That was my time to put some laps down, and I could see on my the interval thing. I was trying to gain on Ryan, but they were just miles too quick for me today.
Well, still a great second place for you. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, friends and family, they're all watching, and team for helping me set the car up, and thank you very much. And you guys, well done. Cheers, love it.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks very much. Congratulations on second, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Hayden Young there, second place in the race. Brian Faluna was third, and he also joins us now. Brian, how are you feeling after that one?
I mean, it was a good race, I'll be honest. I was actually surprised. I just bought the track last night at like 8 o'clock at night. So all I did was wet running. I set the car up for the wet. And then the fact that it was like dry the entire time completely threw me for a loop. I think it threw everybody for a loop. So, but overall, I'm happy. I mean, chipping away at it. But yeah, it's pretty good.
You mentioned that you were underfueled by the system that you use. I mean, what point did you realise that? What was your sort of reaction at the time?
Oh, as soon as the little narrative was like, go, 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 and I looked at how much fuel I had, and I was like, 6.5 gallons? That doesn't make any sense. And then as soon as I got on the track and it recalculated, it was like, there's like 15 or whatever laps left, and you've got 6 laps of fuel. And I was like, oh, boy, well, it was good while it lasted.
Yeah, we did wonder whether you'd make it to the end on that. Unfortunately,
to be fair, Brian, we actually didn't wonder. We did actually think you were going to need to pit stop without putting too much.
Yeah,
we were open to being surprised, but unfortunately not on this occasion.
It would have taken the mother of all fuel savings to make it on that 6.5 gallons. But hey, shout out to Ryan. Ran a great race, kept me honest the whole time. But it was really good. I was actually surprised. I did not think I was going to be towards the front, kind of looking at Garage 61. And I saw Ryan's lap time in there, like a 1:34 something. And I was like, yeah, I was like a second and a half off. And I was like, he's going to run away.
Well, congratulations anyway on finishing on the podium nevertheless. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you
go? Yeah, hey, love to be a part of this group. Love you guys on the broadcast. It's awesome. And shout out to my wife, who is probably upstairs trying to get the last few minutes of sleep while I've probably been waking her up the entire time.
I was going to say, 7:15, isn't it, over where you are at the minute?
It's actually almost 9:45. For some reason, iRacing won't update my location from California.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, fine. We thought you were waking up at very silly time in the morning to go and race. But even so, it's still quite early for a Sunday. Congratulations on finishing on the podium, Brian, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Hey, thanks, fellas. See you next time.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Brian Villeneuve there, the third place driver. We've still got loads of people to go through. The Pro-Am winner is not with us, unfortunately, Richard Wedgster, so we'll go to Am next, where James Hillerick has taken his second victory in a row. Congratulations, James. I guess this pessimism that you had before racing is going to have to stay, isn't it?
I guess so, man. I was like, it worked last week. Let me get in there and say something about this week and see what happens. It worked out again. Finished P13 again. Oh, man, I'm ecstatic. It's great.
What were your expectations for this race? Being serious for a second, I know you always say that you're expecting the worst, but actually in terms of how the racing was going to be, how difficult it was going to be to race with other people, and the weather, what were we expecting from tonight, or today, I should say?
Honestly, I thought it was going to be kind of like I don't know if it was lap 2 or 3 where we're going into turn 10 and 11. I don't know if you guys even caught it on there where the car just went straight through the whole field.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever that was cleared right over top of my car. I've seen the underneath of his car as he went over. So that's kind of what I expected for the whole race. Luckily, it was only a one-time event, and I don't know. I lucked out. I ran official fuel, so I was super short on fuel, so I had to pit early, and ended up working out, and the rain held off, and I'll take back-to-back. It feels good. I'm happy to be back, man. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the win. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Again, like always, my wife, Bianca, the kids, and the new team with here with BWE running. So a lot of help, lots of practice. So keep on going. Hopefully we can put some more wins in the basket.
Absolutely. Congratulations, James, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks very much, James Hillerick there, the AM winner tonight. Now, today, damn it. Let's
One
chat
day
to
you might get that right. One day.
One day, maybe, when I'm nearly dead.
Nice. Positive as James Hillerick.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's chat to Alfie Nichols next. I think he's the best placed of those who are still waiting for some sort of other interviews from non-podium places. Welcome, Alfie. Good to have you. The first question for me, actually, is about your pit strategy and why you made 2 stops. Is there any reason for that?
Yeah, well, I put the setup on. I put a wet setup on, expecting it to be torrential rain at the beginning or near the beginning. So I started on dries, and then the setup I used is the official fuel, the GT sprint fuel. So I didn't fuel enough to go the extra 3 laps. So it's like, I'll pit now, I'll hope it rains, go on the wets, pray that it rains, and it just never came. And then when it did come, it was nowhere near heavy enough to be on wets. So we went back onto dries and pray that we could try and get back through the field, which we definitely had the pace for. We were catching, but just not enough time left in the end.
What in a normal day? Let's imagine this race stayed dry and you and Hayden Young raced to the end, sort of as you were through the first part of the race. Would you have confidence you were able to hold on to that podium?
I feel like would have been able to hold on to it just about. The traffic around here was pretty bad, to be fair. Just because there's not a lot of places except for the back straight where you can get past, but people are a bit reluctant to lift there some of the times. But I feel like it would have been a good battle between us two. Probably could have held on to it after I got past him.
Either way, another top 10 for you. Fourth in a row, fifth in a row, something like that. So, congratulations on that. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Obviously, got to thank my mum who's watching downstairs. I don't know if she's been very active,
She's been still here, mate.
yeah, still got to have her for me.
Yeah, we've got a few mums who are having a good old chinwag.
Yeah, I have to talk to Bradley about that charity race that you guys were talking about.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of mums coming in, so yeah. So you'll be all right. They're all having a nice little. They're around their knit and needles, and they're all having a good old chat, watching their son's wife.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Congratulations, Alfie, on 8th place again today, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Thanks very much, Alfie Nichols there in 8th. Damien Horvatin was just outside the top 10, and we can chat to him as well. Welcome in, Damien. Good to have you with us. You were on the wets there towards the end, never really got quite wet enough for those wet tyres. What was your What was your thinking in terms of going on to the wet tyres, and how are you feeling when you sort of realised that it just wasn't really getting very wet?
To be fair, is my microphone good? I think it usually likes to
You physically do sound like you're in a toilet.
I'm not this time. Wait, let me just.
This time, what you was last time we interviewed you. I'm not this time, but I was last time.
I think it was most part, but the last season. Okay, so is it better now?
Yes, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, finally. Okay, so thinking about going on the wets, there was no thinking really. So the whole week, I put all of my eggs into one basket. Because the forecast was there, it was gonna rain hell from the end of quali to the end of the race. So I went and done a ton of rain laps. I was running 49s in pretty heavy rain, really good pace. And then practice was dry, quali was dry, and then it said it's gonna rain for the warm-up. It didn't rain. And then all of a sudden, the race is dry. So it said on the forecast that like in 15 minutes it's gonna rain 100%. 15 minutes would pass and there was no rain. So when it was time for my pit stop, I saw that the sky was really gray, and it said on my forecast, yes, it's gonna rain now. And like, yeah, now I have to go in. Let's get this wets on. Alfie got wets on. Let's gun it. It's gonna happen now. And then it didn't. It just didn't. So what can you do?
Yeah, very difficult conditions to read, I've got to say, over the course of the day. Is there anyone you'd like to go shout out to before we let you go?
Well, not the weather this time, because this time it didn't treat me nicely. And I'd shout out you two, the broadcasters. It's so nice watching back the race on the toilet. And my family, who's not watching me right now because they have other business to do, and that's it. The organizers, of course, how can I forget them?
Absolutely. Thanks very much for coming to chat to us, Damien, and hopefully we'll see you next week as well.
Hopefully too. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Damien Hoverton there, the winner, winner? 12, indeed, in the race. Today, one final interview. Cameron Risley finished down in 32nd today and also joins us now. Welcome in, Cameron. How was the race for you out there? I don't think we saw very much of you actually today on the stream. How did you fare out there?
Yeah, man, if you saw me today, honestly, it was just dodging off that racing line, letting some of these guys go by. I didn't practice very much, honestly, and it made for a rough race. I was practicing for a lot more rain than what happened today, and I think that was the case with some of the guys as well. I was actually on wet tires for way too much of the race, and it was just causing me problems. But I'll take 32nd with some of the guys leaving and everything.
What were you sort of thinking about before this race in terms of how you're going to approach it? Everybody was talking about, or they've just been talking to us about the over 90% chance of rain and all of that, and practicing loads in the rain and not much in the dry. What was your preparation like, and what were you thinking about weather-wise going before this race started?
Well, honestly, man, I was practicing like light to moderate rain. I set up a few sessions for the guys as well, and that was the weather was light to moderate. And I mean, I probably practiced on like maybe like a medium wet track, and that just I should have practiced a lot more dry on this track. This is a fresh track for me. It's my first time here at Montreal, so next time I'm here, I'm gonna try to do better. That's for sure.
All right, thanks for coming to chat to us, Cameron, and hopefully we'll see you next week as well.
Yeah, for sure. Here every week. You guys do a great job.
Thanks very much, Cameron Rizzi there, the driver 32nd finish today. That's just about going to do it for us here today, though, at the OGRL Coffee Cup. Another good round here, James, at Montreal. I think Montreal always delivers good racing, even if I think a lot of people do agree it's not the most exciting circuit in the world to drive, even though if I don't mind it. I can certainly understand why people don't. But the racing's always good, and the weather's always unpredictable as well, as we saw today.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It did what it needed to do, right? And that's the thing. At the end of the day, it did what it needed to do. It brought us great racing. It threw every single driver, by the seams of it, out of sorts, right? Because everybody was expecting torrential rain and we didn't get any. Everybody's been driving and testing in the rain and we didn't have none. So I think at the end of the day, it's really given all of these guys something to think about. And of course, we've got Sebring coming up on the 22nd. Before we go into our break, so that would be the 90-minute race at Sebring.
Yep, we will. We'll see what we get next week. Of course, as you say, 90 minutes instead. It says sunset tonight is in brackets as well, so we're going to have to get our eyes. Well, I'm going to have to get my eyes tested. Otherwise, I'm not going to see a thing by the time we're at the end of the race. But anyway, we look forward to that. Round 18 of the championship coming to you live, same time, same place here on the JP YouTube channel as always. Next week is our last week of broadcasting before Christmas, so I'd very much like to see you at some of the other broadcasts over the course of the next 7 days before we're back here with OGRL again in 1 week's time. But until then, I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt. We'll see you in Sebring. It's goodbye for now.
Jungle.